So today, for the Holy Sabbath day, I will read you a sermon against whoredom and uncleanness. Won't that be exciting? Although there want not, good Christian people, great swarms of vices worthy to be rebuked, unto such decay is true godliness and virtuous living now come, yet above other vices, the outrageous seas of adultery or breaking of wedlock, whoredom, fornication, and uncleanness have not only burst in, but also overflowed almost the whole world, unto the great dishonor of God, the exceeding infamy of the name of Christ, the notable decay of true religion, and the utter destruction of the public wealth, and that so abundantly that through the customable use thereof this vice is grown into such a height that in a manner among many it is counted no sin at all, but rather a pastime, a dalliance, and but a touch of youth, not rebuked but winked at, not punished but laughed at. Wherefore it is necessary at this present to treat of the sin of whoredom and fornication, declaring unto you the greatness of this sin, and how odious, hateful, and abominable it is, and hath always been reputed before God and good men, and how grievously it hath been punished both by the law of God and the laws of divers princes. Again, to show you certain remedies whereby ye may, through the grace of God, eschew this most detestable sin of whoredom and fornication, and lead your lives in all honesty and cleanness, and that ye may perceive that fornication and whoredom are, in the sight of God, most abominable sins, ye shall call to remembrance this commandment of God, Thou shalt not commit adultery. By which word adultery, although it be properly understood of the unlawful commixtion or joining together of a married man with any woman beside his wife, or of a wife with any man beside her husband, yet thereby is signified also all unlawful use of those parts which be ordained for generation. And this one commandment forbidding adultery doth sufficiently paint and set out before our eyes the greatness of this sin of whoredom, and manifestly declareth how greatly it ought to be abhorred of all honest and faithful persons. And that none of us shall think himself excepted from this commandment, whether we be old or young, married or unmarried, man or woman. Hear what God the Father saith by his most excellent prophet Moses. There shall be no whore among the daughters of Israel, no whoremonger among the sons of Israel. Here is whoredom, fornication, and all other uncleanness forbidden to all kinds of people, all degrees and ages, without exception, and that we shall not doubt, but that this precept or commandment pertaineth to us indeed. Hear what Christ, the perfect teacher of all truth, saith in the New Testament. Ye have heard, saith Christ, that it was said to them of old time, Thou shalt not commit adultery. But I say unto you, whoever seeth a woman, to have his lust of her, hath committed adultery with her already in his heart. Here our Saviour Christ doth not only confirm and establish the law against adultery given in the Old Testament of God the Father by his servant Moses, and make it of full strength continually to remain among the professors of his name in the new law, but he also, condemning the gross interpretation of the scribes and Pharisees, which taught that the foresaid commandment only required to abstain from the outward adultery, and not from the filthy desires and impure lusts, teacheth us an exact and full perfection of purity and cleanness of life, both to keep our bodies undefiled, and our hearts pure and free from all evil thoughts, carnal desires, and fleshly consents. How can we then be free from this commandment where so great a charge is laid upon us? May a servant do what he will in anything, having commandment of his master to the contrary? Is not Christ our master? Are we not his servants? How then may we neglect our Master's will and pleasure and follow our will and fantasy? Ye are my friends, saith Christ, if you keep those things that I command you. Now hath Christ our Master commanded us that we should forsake all uncleanness and filthiness in body and spirit. This therefore must we do, if we look to please God.